Hey, welcome back to another weather forecast here by Adrian's Weather Forecast. In this video, we're going to be checking out Invest 95L as it's continuing to organize here. Has gone through a little shear, but it is making it back its way here to getting a very organized. The National Hurricane Center has updated the probability of forming to a 90% chance from here to the next 5 days. So really watching out, as we can very well have Josephine very soon here. The dryer starting to fall apart, and also 95L could very well become Tropical Depression 11 by the end of today. So really watching at this storm is trying to create a lot more convection. It did blow up a lot last night, kind of fell apart overnight though, but really watching out as it's possibly going to blow once again. Models show it becoming tropical storm, and also models do show a western trend, which means it will not be going out to sea like many people think. So this will not be a fish storm. Very well possibly going to head toward the western Atlantic and the Caribbean. So that's also a threat if this could be a long track system if it survives dry air, possibly leaving a threat for the U.S. later on. Before we get the video, please subscribe if you're new as well to show your awesome support, and also hit the post notification icon so you get notified as soon as I make a video. And last but not least, hit the like button so I know you guys liked videos like these. Here's now a look at the National Hurricane Center, and here we have the system here at a 90% chance. There we got it, 90% chance for the next 5 days. We actually have a 90% chance here for the next 48 hours as well. So could very well have Josephine here extremely soon, actually. But there it is. This is where we can very well see this become a named storm. It's going to be way before affecting the Lesser Antilles, but as you see, we have kind of moved this cone a little bit more to the west instead of northwest here, and now this is possibly a little threat for portions of the western Atlantic, and even the Gulf of Mexico could very well have a possibility here. But there it is. This is where we can possibly have this be a named storm in the circle area. So this could be named by tomorrow. It could be named by Wednesday or by Thursday. It will be named though very soon. It actually has a 90% chance for the next 48 hours. So it could very well be named tomorrow, just depending on how much it is going to blow up. It's actually still at 35 miles an hour. So it just needs 4 miles an hour, and it reaches tropical storm force winds. But conditions are becoming favorable as we look at satellite imagery. It is starting to get a lot more center convection, so that's also a sign of this possibly starting to organize, not necessarily strengthening, but organizing. It actually, if you look at satellite imagery, it kind of seems like it's trying to wrap around all the way, which will mean this is trying to close off. But speaking of that, let's go check out satellite imagery. Here's now a look at our brightness, and people think this is actually weakening because this is what it looked like a couple hours ago. That's very organized, and now it kind of went like this. People are now doubting it because it's falling apart. Actually, it's not. It's going through a little phase, as you see right here. Watch this eastern part of the storm. It's trying to find a new center convection area, and as you see, it's blowing up, and it's trying to wrap around. It's a normal phase we see in tropical systems, such as Invest in tropical depressions. It's trying to wrap around like this to close off this whole area, and it's trying to kind of go like this. It's kind of extend like that. After that happens, we'll possibly see our new center more to the east. Actually, it's trying to find a new center of convection. It had it last night, and then it went through it went through a decent amount of shear. We actually still have that shear there currently. That shear kind of did take it apart. It looked pretty unorganized there, but it's trying to wrap around. It's a phase. It's going to blow up back again. National Hurricane Center went up 30% compared to last night. So this is showing you how much confidence we have in this. Look at it, it's starting to blow up here in this eastern part of the system here. Starting to see some blacks and even getting some whites at some point right there. So I think it's trying to wrap around. I see like it there it looked very unorganized, but now you can kind of see this convection is trying to kind of wrap around like that. Same here as well, up here as well, trying to wrap around this system. As he's trying to extend like that. It doesn't look the best, but this is actually very good looking for an invest. Actually, guys, this is very well organized for an invest, and this could become a tropical depression very soon. If it does get that, if it does wrap around like that, it could very well do that. This could be the new center right here. Once this fully wraps around, that possibly will be the new center. I know you're probably thinking, center, what do you mean? It's an invest. Center of convection. Where we have all that convection. See, this was the center a couple hours ago right here. That was the center of convection, the center of the system where that low pressure system is, and now it's trying to reform. And we've saw it multiple times with these Zais, and it's happening here as well. Check out water vapor actually. I see really the water vapor is starting to extend as well. As you see, it didn't look too bad on water vapor. You see, it looked a lot better last night, obviously, or earlier this morning. But look, we're trying to see some big pockets of convection and water vapor trying to pop up, which is showing you this storm's trying to really increase in size, and it's also really trying to wrap around like that. As you see, if this like wraps around like this, that will be a good sign of this trying to really organize here. Let's check out now as well true color to see the system here, if this actually loads. But as you see, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good earlier this morning. Did have a ton of center convection there, but that shear in the south actually did really take that storm apart, kind of split it in half, kind of like that. I see it really fell apart. Kind of see that the center became exposed. That low pressure became exposed on the western part of the system here. But now it's redeeming itself here. It's trying to redeem itself, and you're starting to see a lot blowing up of convection here. It's trying to get its shape back, trying to get its formation back. You're seeing a lot of blow up and convection right here. What I mean by this is trying to close off and rotate. Look right here, that little dot right there. That is where it's open. You see, we have blowing up of convection right here, and then right here. We have this little gap. We have a little gap right here in this black area. We have a little gap. It's trying, if we have a little convection blowing up right there, it's trying to close off and fully wrap around, which is what we saw in IR brightness. It's trying to fully wrap around here. It's not becoming disorganized. It's not falling apart. It's trying to get its act back together. Here's now another look here in satellite imagery. So there's that system. That's where it was actually a couple hours ago there. You see, overnight it was right there. It looked very well organized. As you see, it's trying to get its act together. You know, it's moving decently fast. It's at 1,007 millibars. You know, it's not too shabby at this point right now. It's trying to get there. It is trying to get organized. It went through a little shear. Not gonna fall apart. It's not dying. If anything, it's actually reorganizing. But this is another look at satellite imagery here as well. Also, really something interesting right here off the coast of Africa right now. We actually do have a really broad area of convection here and scattered showers that could be disturbed. So, also watching out for another potential disturbance, maybe off the coast of Africa by today. We can maybe have another disturbed area or another X here on the National Hurricane Center. But now it's going to check out more details and also seeing the conditions currently for 95L. Here's now a look at the current vorticity here. Vorticity, the amount of spin in the atmosphere, the more convection and vorticity are kind of linked to each other. But you see, this doesn't look too different compared to yesterday. It still hasn't really gone down, hasn't really increased right now. Still really the same, but there we got this hurricane Elita right here in the Pacific, in the Eastern Pacific there. And then here we have that decent vorticity signature there for an invest. You know, this is not tropical depression. This is not a storm, guys. This is an invest. You have to remember that. That is very good. This is actually very impressive for an invest to have this decent center area of vorticity. As you see, it's very well centered. It's not really unorganized. It's not like not like this. It's not like this. It's like this. It has center vorticity. The most vorticity we have is in the center, which is what you want, obviously. It's circular. It's decent. You know, this vorticity signature is very well decent for an invest here. Not actually impressed if it was a tropical storm, but this is still an invest. Soon to be tropical depression. So this is something. This is something for an invest. You know, it's showing you it's trying to get its act together, trying to, as its convection really kind of blows up and strengthens. So that vorticity, that spin in the atmosphere, really that spin will really get its act together, and that's where we'll start to see a lot more correlation there with this invest getting possibly closer and more organized to the point where it's a tropical depression. Let's check out the conditions here as well. Let's take a look at shear. As you see, we are seeing well below average shear due to getting to that strengthening La Nina. That's exactly why we're expecting a hyperactive season. The less shear, we're seeing below average shear and really warm waters. As you see, it really has gone down a lot since January. It's been skyrocketing down, just plummeting. As you see, we're right here In August, we're seeing really on average around 18 knots of shear. Up to our lowest point, it's up to around 10 knots of shear. It's really a very low. That's big. That's actually a very big concern because we're gonna be seeing the lowest point of shear during the kind of peak months from August to October. We're gonna be seeing extreme less amounts of shear, which is a big concern. Really a big concern for the tropical Atlantic and long track systems that won't be getting into shear. Obviously, there's a little bit shear right now, but it's not gonna be there permanently. This system, as it moves more to the northwest, it will go away from that shear, and that's where this could be named by the next 24, if not 30 hours. Who knows? Could be named by tomorrow evening. Who knows? Could be named by Thursday morning. You know, it's a 90% chance the next 5 days. So it's a high risk for forming no matter what here. Maybe this will go through rapid organization by today, like it did last night, and maybe since it won't go through any more shear, it actually will stay like that and not fall apart, which is a very big concern. Obviously, we still have the dryer to talk about. Not done with the dryer, but look at this. So here it is, the system right here, the blowing up of cloud cover, nice amount of convection there. Look, all this dryer, all this Saharan desert is all to the north here, not even touching the system yet. This system's protected as kind of has a moisture bubble right now, 95L, kind of keeping it away from the dryer. But if you notice, there's only yellows. That are near this invest. And look where yellow is on the graph. Very, very little amount of dry air. If you want a system to fall apart, you're gonna have reds, pinks, even whites. That's what you're gonna need for this system to fall apart. But a little yellow and a little teeny little orange won't do it. Nothing really whatsoever. Yes, it's drier, but not enough to take a system apart. As you see, that dryer is starting to cut in front of the system. It's kind of cutting in front of kind of drawing its own finish line here. Like it's drawing its own coffin for 95L. I see that dryer kind of really does not get to it much, really. And as you see, the system continues to move. And then look, this dry air isn't impressive. It really isn't. If it does make a way through that as a moisture bubble, it's actually going to be further here, actually. Yeah, actually move a little bit more. So this system's actually going to be moving in through around this point right there. It's going to kind of have a little gap. And that's very little dry air. That's extremely little amount of dry air. It looks bad. This is bad. This is really nothing. Look at it on the graph. Look where the colors are that are on the graph. It's right here. That is nothing. And look at this whole graph. It has all this. This is nothing. If this will be named by the next coming days, before touching the dry air, that means it's obviously going to be more organized, more convection, bigger moisture bubble. So the stronger this Invest 95L gets, the better it has a chance of surviving. Obviously, I'm not saying it's not going to weaken it's not going to weaken a bit. It could weaken as dry air, probably will, or disorganize a bit, but it won't completely die like people think. You know, it's going to make its way like that, and then possibly have open waters with extremely favorable conditions for the rest of its life. Let's animate to the end here. As you see, we really don't have any dryer whatsoever in this whole area, especially if it goes in the Gulf. It'll be fine if it goes right here. It has a whole open area of just open waters, very favorable, so that's a big concern if this does survive the dry air. Here's a look now at the ocean heat content. This is showing how much energy we have stored in the ocean. Basically, the warmer, obviously the higher the better. Kind of mean we're having really warm waters to high, really deep depths in the water. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. As you see, really high amount of ocean heat content right here in the Western Caribbean between the Yucatan Peninsula and even Jamaica. Obviously, this storm won't be heading there, so it won't be a big threat. But if any system does go through that high amount of heat content, it will really blow up with extremely warm waters, extreme amount of energy stored. So when a system goes over those waters, all the energy goes into the storm. And basically, it's like a Thanksgiving feast for the system. Obviously, the system's around right here, and it's expected to go through a bit of ocean heat content. Look at this. It has a good bit right here for portions of the the Eastern Caribbean. It has a decent amount here for near the U.S. Virgin Islands, Leeward Islands. Also, if it does go north of Puerto Rico, we expect it to go north of Puerto Rico. Don't expect a direct landfall with this Puerto Rico. You guys should be fine But look at the really high amount of heat content here in the Bahamas and Florida. If this system does go to those areas, which models are showing it going to, that would be a big threat if it does get to the general area. Obviously, we don't have much heat content here in the tropical Atlantic, as waters are a bit cooler and energy hasn't been stored much. But really worried about when it does go in the western Atlantic. Obviously, some nice amounts of energy here waiting for systems to blow up. Alright, this is going to be a track here for the early cycles of 95 out of the first 4 or 5 days. So it doesn't go all the way up into like the next 7 or 8 days, really. So this is where the system is right now. It's kind of making some ground. It's getting a bit, it's moving a bit faster. But look, a lot of models yesterday were showing fish storms like this, like a lot of fish storms, or a fish storm, taking it going this way and going out like that. I don't see that, guys. It will not be a fish storm. Also, the latest update shows more, show these models being a lot more to the west here. As you see, a lot more of the models are showing it now over here. So not going out to sea, possibly just go north of Puerto Rico, and that means the Bahamas. You guys are a possibly big threat there. It's not gonna go like this, like these couple of models show. Like it won't do that, guys. It would have to be doing a massive turn like that. So as you see, a lot more models have now shifted more to the west here and a little bit more to the south. As you see, current intensity is 30 knots here and into the North Atlantic, and that's what models are showing. So you know, if it continues to move south, Puerto Rico, Leeward Islands, you guys will be in a threat. But it's expected to go kind of just to the north here. But that's actually going to bring in a big threat. If you guys look further out to the west, if you follow the tracks, it would probably lead to the Bahamas and possibly even Florida. I'm not saying it's going to be a U.S. landfall. I'm saying it's something to look into, especially now that models are showing more of a western trend. I never thought this was going to be a fish storm. I knew for sure this would not be a fish storm, but models really change very fast here. Let's go and check out now as well this track guidance. As you see, these models as well show no fish storm, only CEM2 and AEMI. Those are the only two models that show being a fish storm. As you see, the majority are showing it going like this, taking more of a kind of a teeny little bit northwestern turn, and then going more of a west-northwest turn. And you see it's expected to go north of Puerto Rico, north of the Leeward Islands, may or may not touch a couple teeny little islands, nothing major. But if you follow this track, that's expected to possibly go straight for the Bahamas and Florida. And that's why I expect this to definitely be a long track storm here. I expect it to be a long track storm. Not a lot of people say that. Only a couple of people agree with me on this. But this will not be a fish storm. This will not die completely. It may weaken a good bit. Maybe open up a tad. But it will survive this dry. Actually, GFS and a couple other models show it not only do they show it not dying, they also show getting stronger after the dry air. So this is a big jump here. Also, big jump. The model intensity guidance. Many people are saying this won't be a tropical storm. It may get tropical depression at most. Look at this. Look at this major change. Yesterday, less than 12 hours ago yesterday, way at late night, only like 6 models were showing a tropical storm. Now we have all but 2 models showing getting tropical storm. No, all but 1 model shows not getting tropical storm as early as the next 24 hours and as late as the next 48 hours. So this could be named within the next 24 to 30 hours to be exact. As you see, a lot more models show 24 hours. So this is actually a major update. And it also showed getting possibly to a moderate tropical storm. I don't want to seem like I'm really overhyping this system, but if it does survive the dry air, it avoids the worst. I think this could reach Category 1 force winds. It's possible. It could reach Cat 1 force winds. If it's possible, maybe way in the Bahamas. And obviously, I can't say exact location, but I do expect this to go in the Gulf. I do expect this to end up in the Gulf and possibly hit the Gulf Coast, whether it's Louisiana or the Panhandle or Alabama. I do expect this to go in the Gulf if it goes as planned. Now these new model tracks, it seems more favorable. I do expect this to possibly affect the Bahamas, Florida, and then possibly ending up in the Eastern Gulf. That's what I expect as of now. Obviously, don't take my word for 100%, but that's exactly why I'm thinking this could very well become a hurricane, because the Eastern Gulf is blowing up with extreme warm SSTs, no shear, very moist atmosphere. So I'm just saying that. But let's go check out now what the models show. Here's a look now at the moisture here. As you see, the GFS is showing a pretty good moisture bubble here, sitting there at 1,008 millibars there. All the dryers, the dryer's kind of cutting off. It's two-way the dryer. It's this one, and then it's this one, really. But watch. You guys are probably saying, there's no way it will last here as an invest or a weak tropical storm. Just watch. Watch. This is currently right now. As you see, this dryer is moving kind of more to the west. Every single 6 hours, it moves more and more to the west. And so is Invest 95L. So it's kind of trying to catch up to it, but it really won't. But watch. As you see, a nice amount of moisture sitting there, no dry air. It's getting close to dry air, but watch. Look at this. It's kind of like this moisture is kind of pushing it out, pushing that dry air. And you see, that second to last wave kind of falls out. Now it's just this big wave right here. Will it survive? I think it could. Watch. It actually strengthens up to 1,004 millibars. Look at that major, huge bubble change. And look, all the worst of that dry air is now out of the way. Now it's just this teeny little dot right here, dry air. But it gets even better. Look, it completely gets ripped apart, this dryer. It completely changes. Look at that. Nothing whatsoever. And this all happens before dryer even touches the system. As you see, this system does not touch dry air until maybe the next 96 hours. But it won't be too much. And then it has time to close back up. So that's a big update. From here, what this looks like to that's a big improvement. That's exactly why I think this will survive, because the dry air will be falling apart. Let's check out the wind shear here. As you see, there is wind shear to the south of the low pressure, which is exactly why it is starting to fall apart. But this northeastern part of the system has no wind shear whatsoever, which is exactly why it's starting to blow up here. And as we get the next 18 hours, this shear really falls apart here. Not going to be seeing much shear whatsoever, possibly less than 20 knots at some point. See if this actually loads for me. So let's see if this actually loads. But expect this wind shear to minimize as we get next coming hours here. But up to possibly up to less than 9 knots there for the center of the low pressure there. And as you see, we will have a lot of wind shear to the north of the system with that dry air. But as you see, this thing gets up to 1,001 millibars, with really not much shear whatsoever in the forecast to really affect the system. There will be dry air, just not looking like it's going to affect it. Here's the new GFS update. As you see, they do show it getting up to 1,006 millibars with the next 30 hours. There could be reaching that it could be reaching that tropical storm force wind, tropical storm extent at that point with 1,006 millibars. A pretty weak tropical storm, like right as it gets to a tropical storm there. I don't know why this isn't loading for me here, but GFS is expecting this to become a tropical storm there. As you see, they should getting up to 1,003 millibars at August 14th, 1,001 millibars on August 15th there. So that's a huge improvement. The GFS is really showing this becoming a decent storm here. Obviously, it still has plenty of time to improve. It was actually at 996 millibars, the other update, but now it's at 1,001 there. So it's still improvement there. Let's check out now what the CMC has to say here. I've actually not checked the CMC yet. So here's the CMC at 1,008 millibars there. As you see, still getting up to 1,006, 1,005. You know, CMC is the type of model that really kind of over or underreacts or under forecast. They have a history of doing that. But, you know, they were making improvement. At first, they weren't even showing the system at all. But now they are slowly. But just check out the icon. Icon shows getting up to 1,008 millibars, 1,007, even 1,009, or I thought I said 1,000. And then possibly going way more to the south. But Icon also seen improvement. Icon last night was showing to be in a fish storm. Now they should possibly hitting the Caribbean islands. So that's also some improvement here. But, yep. So I hope you guys did enjoy that video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will try to have another video here on Invest 95L by this evening, maybe after 8 o'clock. After the 8 o'clock update. Could be tropical depression by the end of today, though. Bye, guys.